In this video, I'm going to share with you a technique on manifestation that I recently used on something huge, and it manifested and came into my life within a week. And this thing that I manifested, when I was going after it, there was no way, I didn't have the money to buy it. I didn't have enough money to buy it. Everything in the three-dimensional world was telling me that I cannot have this, that you are not going to have this, but I practice this every single day, and I wanted to put it to the test again, once again, with something new, a new technique that I wanted to use just to see if it would work, because I didn't have enough money or resources to buy this, but it came into my life when I applied this technique. So first, I'm going to give you a little background on this situation and the thing that I manifested and how it all unfolded and how I manifested this thing to come into my life. I've always been a big coin collector. I've always been a stamp collector. I've always loved collecting, antique things in my life that are just, that are valuable, that have a lot, they contain a lot of value. They hold a lot of value. They're great investments. You're always appreciating in value. And I came across someone that had this huge coin collection. So I contacted this person and I wanted to come and visit and take a look at his coin collection because I was interested in buying it. I was very interested in buying it. So I went and looked at this coin collection and it was just magnificent. I absolutely fell in love with this. And then I asked him how much he wanted for it. And then I worked out my finances and there was just no way that I could afford to buy this coin collection without having to sell or get rid of like a lot of Bitcoin or get rid of some of my other investments in order to buy this. And I wanted to have this coin collection and I didn't want to sell anything. So I made him a counter offer and I told him that I would be in touch whether or not I would buy it or not. But in my mind, I already knew that I was going to have this. I already had this all set in my mind that the coin collection was already mine. So the first thing that I did was I wanted to come up with something that would be new, a new technique that I could use where I could get this thing to manifest and come into my life within a week. So I was thinking to myself, I always started thinking of my grandfather and how when he went to see Neville Goddard and how they did the knot technique with the ladder experiment, how they said, I will not climb a ladder, I will not climb a ladder. And I remember when I came up with my own exercise where I'd write down before I went to sleep at night, I do not want, or I will not be a multimillionaire. I will not be a multimillionaire. And you write this down 10 times and you put it under your pillow and then you keep it in your pocket wherever you go throughout the day, or your purse or your wallet, keep it in your car, but you're keeping it on your person. You're writing this down as you're going to sleep at night, putting it under your pillow or putting it on your nightstand, just having it near you all the time. But with this exercise, I took the knot completely out of it. I did not want to put in the knot because I want this to work for more people. And I noticed that a lot of people had a lot of blocks with writing down, I will not be a multimillionaire, I will not be in this relationship. But we also did have a lot of success with that. But I wanted to use something and I wanted to take the knot out of it. And I also wanted to bring in another exercise that was very, very efficient and effective at manifesting things. And that is, thank you for showing me that this issue is already solved, but I wanted to take the issue out of it. So I wanted to take out the knot, I wanted to write it down, and I wanted to use this. So I was taking all these different exercises and creating this one masterpiece. So what I did was, before I went to sleep at night, I got a pen and a piece of paper, and I was going to do this for 7 nights and 7 days. And I wrote this down 10 times. Thank you for showing me that I now have this beautiful and rare coin collection. And I wrote this down 10 times, and while I'm writing it down, I'm really taking in the feeling state of this. Also asking myself questions, how would I feel right now if I had this rare coin collection and it was already with me? I already owned it. What would I be doing after that? How would I feel? How satisfied, the relief that I would feel, had I already had that. And I'm doing that as I'm writing this out. I'm writing it 10 times, and just feeling every single word as I'm writing it on this piece of paper. And after I finished this process, I took the piece of paper and then I folded it in half and then I put it on my nightstand. I would leave it right on my nightstand and then I would go to sleep after that. But as I'm going to sleep, I'm taking in this feeling. I'm also asking myself questions, how would I feel if this was mine right now? So what would I be going after next? What would I be doing? And how would I just feel? You know, all the way around. How would I feel if this was already done? Then I would fall asleep in that state. And then when I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I see is the piece of paper on the nightstand. And it reminds me, okay, these are reminders to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. So I'm thinking all the time, this is reminding me, this is already done. I already have this coin collection. I already have it. So I'm going to go about the day and assume it until it is a fact. And this is my reminder. So I get up, do my morning routine, keep it close to me all morning long, all day long, put it in my pocket, take it with me wherever I go. I'm keeping it close to me. And every time I sense that the paper is close to me, I'm assuming the state as if it's already fulfilled. This is my wish and it's already fulfilled. I already have this. So then the next night, I don't write it out again. I keep the same piece of paper, but I just read it and I feel it as I'm going to sleep. I'm reading the same thing. Thank you for showing me that I have this rare and beautiful coin collection. I have this rare and beautiful coin collection. And I'm reading it and feeling and asking myself these questions, just getting so, emotionally relieved that I already have. Thank you for showing me that I already have this. It's already done. It's already done. And then I fall asleep in this feeling state. I've completely submerged myself in this feeling that this is now done. I already have it. I'm completely submerged in this feeling. I fall asleep with this and I continue doing this every single night. And I do this for 6 nights. My plan was 7. But the 7th day, it came to me. So on the 7th day, the person that owned this coin collection contacted me, and they were very sincere on the phone with me and said that they had many other people that were coming to see the coin collection that were really, really arguing with him about the coin collection and trying to get him down on his prices. And they just didn't have the emotions and the love for the coin collection that I had when I went to see him. I went to see him and I just fell in love with him. I'm looking at everything, my face is all lit up the entire time. I was basically like a little kid on Christmas morning going under the tree and getting all my Christmas presents when I'm looking at his collection. And he told me that he admired the love that I had for this. And he noticed that I didn't contact him back, or I didn't try to argue on his prices. And he explained to me that this coin collection has been passed through generations with his family. Different items have been put into it. And he really wanted to sell it to someone that wasn't just going to try to make as much money on it and sell it and break it all apart. And he just felt that I was the person that was going to keep this collection, as a whole, just keep it forever. So he invited me back over to see the collection. Even though I didn't have the money to buy it, I agreed and I wanted to go over there and see it. So when I'm over there taking a look at it, my face is all lit up again. I'm like a kid on Christmas morning. And then he asked me, he says, "How much money can you give me for this collection?" And the number that I gave him was just a fraction of what this collection is worth. So he told me, he says, "Listen, I want to give this to you. I want to sell this collection to you. I almost want to just give it to you." And I told him, he said, "But I want to know more about you." So then I told him my entire story, how I overcame an abusive childhood and how I went to prison, how I was an alcoholic. I overcame everything, changed my concept of myself. And I read, thousands of different books on self-development from all the greats. And I studied and I meditated and I went through all these different, and I was explaining, everything that I went through and everything from my life, where it began, where it is now, creating the YouTube channel, the different businesses that I have now, and just creating all this and everything that I went through. And he literally had tears in his eyes when I told him my story. And he said, "You don't have to give me a penny. You can have this coin collection for free." And at this point, we both just had tears in our eyes. And I'm just thinking back to that feeling state, the feeling state that I created, what I was falling asleep with every single night when I was writing it down. How would I feel? And at that moment, when he told me that, I had the exact same feeling of my wish fulfilled. Every feeling, the same exact feeling that I had, that I fell asleep with. As soon as he told me that, I had that feeling in it and I felt it, and it was like deja vu, like I had seen it before. Like my imagination, as I was going to sleep, the subconscious mind created this scene to happen that was happening right now. And the only reason that it did happen is because I fell asleep imagining this to happen. And it's just like Neville Goddard went over so many different times, that what you imagine and what you fall asleep with is going to happen to you in the following days. If you create a feeling state as if you already have something, and you persist in that feeling state, it will harden into a fact. Feeling is the secret. And once again, I have proved that. So I'm going to go over the technique one last time to make it really crystal clear. It's so simple. You're going to do this before you go to sleep at night. I want you to get a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to write this out, whatever your desire is. If you just want to be a multimillionaire, thank you for showing me that I'm now a multimillionaire. Write it down 10 times. Thank you for showing me that I'm now a multi-millionaire. You're writing it 10 times, and as you're writing it, you're feeling it. You're feeling it. Ask yourself questions. How would I feel right now if I really was a multi-millionaire? How would I feel? So you're creating this feeling state, and you're building this feeling state. You're submerging, you're dipping yourself in this feeling that it is already done. You're asking yourself these questions. And then as you finish writing this out, you fold the piece of paper, put it under your pillow or your nightstand, keep it close to you. Then as you're falling asleep, you continue just for a little bit asking yourself questions. How would I feel? You continue with this feeling state. Then you just fall asleep with the relief of it already being done. And then in the morning, you keep the piece of paper. You see it as soon as you wake up. And you grab the piece of paper. You take it with you throughout the day, whatever you're doing. So you have the reminder to keep that in your mind. You're keeping it in your mind all day long. This is already done. I am already a multimillionaire, or whatever it is that you desire. It's already done. So you have the reminder, you keep it in your pocket, you keep it close to you all day long. And the second night before you go to sleep, you're reading it out and doing the same thing. So you're reading it out every single night before you go to sleep. You're not rewriting it. You're just reading it. And you're feeling it. You're asking yourself questions. How would I feel? This is already done. It is already done. It is already done. How would I feel if it was already done? Feeling is the secret. You're creating this feeling state, and you do this for 7 nights. It may happen a lot faster. It didn't even take me 7 nights. And this was 7 figures that I got for free. Upwards into the 7 figures this coin collection was worth. I got this in less than 7 nights. Less than 7 nights, I got this to manifest into my world through this technique. So you do this for 7 nights. 7 nights. It might come to you the second night. It might come to you the third night. It might come the 7th night or 8th night. But it will come to you if you do this right. If you do it right, you create this feeling state, because whatever you fall asleep with doing or feeling, it's going to happen to you in your 3-dimensional world. It has no choice to if you can create this feeling state. So be overwhelmed with gratitude, appreciation as you're falling asleep. This is already done. You're already this person. You already have it. You're already complete. You're falling asleep in the complete state, and just allow the subconscious mind to attract these things to you. Your assumptions are going to attract these things to you. You're just going to get whatever you want. And if you're having any issues focusing on this feeling state where your mind is just drifting everywhere, you're not able to really capture this feeling, I've created a free PDF workbook. It's the very first link in the description. But thank you for watching, and don't forget to give me one thing you are grateful for, or any other content you want me to cover, or anything you want to add to this video. Leave that in the column box below. I read all of the comments. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video.
Because of his position. And he came here to Caltech and taught at Caltech theoretical physics. He said, I want the freedom of imagination. I didn't want to be confined with the secrets of government, so that I could not express myself. Leave me alone, all in theory. So he goes blindly on with his mathematics and his theory, bringing out these concepts, all theory. Well, mine is not theory. I go into these states.